the caucuses finally came, we had more people caucusing than we had ever seen caucus in Hawaii before. We had lines going around the blocks, and people were waiting 2 hours. And when it was all over, I think we had won, what, 70% of the vote. 75% of the caucus vote. And so the main purpose of me being here right now, before I head off and see my grandma, is to say thank you to all of you. Because all of you worked so hard to put me in a position where I may have the honor of serving as your President of the United States. Now let me tell you, a lot of times reporters ask me, they say, what is it that you still carry with you from Hawaii? I now live in Chicago, I now live in Illinois. All right, we got some Chicago folks in the house. Now, I have to admit, December in Chicago is different from December in Hawaii. So people ask me, they say, what do you still bring from Hawaii? How does it affect your character? How does it affect your politics? And I try to explain to them something about the aloha spirit. I try to explain to them this basic idea that we all have obligations to each other, that we're not alone, that if we see somebody who's in need, we should help. If there's a child who doesn't have a decent school, we should help rebuild that school. If there's someone elderly, then we should make sure that they have a life of comfort and dignity. That we look out for one another, that we deal with each other with courtesy and respect. And most importantly, that when you come from Hawaii, you start understanding that what's on the surface, what people look like, that doesn't determine who they are. And that the power and strength of diversity, the ability of people from everywhere, from whether they're black or white, whether they're Japanese Americans or Korean Americans or Filipino Americans or whatever they are, they're just Americans. And they're not, that all of us can work together and all of us can join together to create a better country. And it's that spirit that I am absolutely convinced is what America's looking for right now. Because we've been divided for so long. We've been arguing for so long, a lot of times about things that aren't even worth arguing about, and ignoring the things that we should be doing to make the next generation have a better life. And I think people are hungry for a new politics. They're hungry for change, and that's why I decided to run for President of the United States. You know what that change will mean. It means an energy policy that finally starts investing in solar and wind and biodiesel and no longer depends on foreign oil for our well-being. And I know that the folks here in Hawaii are especially hard hit because everything has to come into Hawaii. And gas prices have gone up the roof, food prices have gone through the roof, and it's time that you got some real relief, and that means actually starting to have an energy policy in this country that makes sense. That's what we're fighting for in this election. That's the choice we have in this election. It's time that we had an education policy that doesn't just have a slogan called "No Child Left Behind" and then leaves the money behind. It starts investing in early childhood education to prepare our kids for school and pays our teachers more money and gives them more support and makes college affordable for every young person in America. That's what we're fighting for in this election. It's about time we had a healthcare system that works for every American. You know, people in Hawaii are healthier than they are in a lot of places. I mean, you know, it's hard to get sick around here. coverage they need, aren't getting the screenings they need, find themselves facing higher premiums, higher co-payments. So we've got to fight for a healthcare system that invests in prevention and that makes sure that anybody who needs health insurance can get health insurance, and anybody who already has health insurance is seeing their premiums and co-payments and deductibles going down so they can afford them. That's what we're fighting for in this election. Making a healthcare system that works for every American. We're fighting to make sure that we're investing in our roads and our bridges and putting people back to work. Creating the kind of economic development strategies that create jobs all across America in green energy and rebuilding our infrastructure. And if you think we can't afford it, just understand that we are spending $10 to $12 billion a month in Iraq. And if we're spending that money in Iraq, we can spend some of that money right here